Hello, hello, hello. What's up, good people? My name is Lamar Tyler. I'm the founder of the Convo Network, and we are back with episode, I'm about to say season two, episode two of Secrets of the 1%. I want to make sure everybody can hear me and see me in a second. I'm going to bring on our host of the actual show, Amelia Thomas from Empire Capital Ventures. And we got a great conversation tonight about episode two. Episode two was a different kind of episode, and it's going to create, right, or cause you to do some things that maybe you hadn't naturally been thinking about doing, but you probably know internally that you need to do. And we're going to get to that in just a second. Let me make sure everybody is on. We are streaming out. We're streaming out to multiple locations tonight. There we go, right? We're streaming out to multiple locations, so I want to make sure we are good and that everybody is ready. This is your chance to ask your questions. Now, we're trying to do this right. We're going to see if we're going to keep doing this. Every week, we drop a new episode Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we want to keep coming to you guys every week with Miss Thomas and giving you the best information and getting you the chance to watch the episode, then ask your questions. It's called Secret of the 1% because we want to tell you guys secrets, things that you may not be thinking about, things that you may not even be aware of. And like we always say, you can't play the game if you don't know what the game is. I want to repeat myself. You can't play the game if you don't know what the game is. So it is our responsibility to make sure we educate you on what the game is. It's your responsibility to show up every Monday, make sure you're good, and then get from a point of making sure you're good to getting all your questions answered. And that is why we are here tonight. So I see we got people coming into the room. Hey, do me a favor, right? Y'all drop some comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from. And as you're doing that, I want to bring on the woman of the hour, right? Miss Amelia Thomas, Empire Capital Ventures. There she is. Hey, Amelia, how are you?
I'm great, Lamar. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just got done watching episode number 2. Secrets of the 1%.
So did I.
Amelia, you went deep dive again, right? Tell us a little bit about this episode, guys. And if you're not, again, right, if you haven't watched it yet, it's available now. Now it's live. You can go on the web, theconvo.tv. It's available in your app store, on your Roku or Fire Stick devices, on your TVs, on your phone, right? If you got an iPhone, it's available on in the App Store. It's available in the App Store for Android. Wherever you want to get to, you can get to this. So, Amelia, let's talk about this episode because you went deep. You talked about budgeting. You talked about tracking and spending. You talked about helping people find money. Like what was your goal with this episode in episode number 2?
Thank you for asking that question, Lamar. And the simple response is that when we think about building wealth, people always want to jump 4, 5, 6 steps ahead of where they really
Mm.
need to start. And they absolutely need to start with managing and tracking their personal financial budget and spending. You want to talk about building wealth, you want to talk about getting ahead, you want to be amongst the elite 1%. It starts there. That is a foundational step. And if you cannot keep track of how you're spending money, the more money you earn, the more money will flow right through your fingers because you cannot keep up with it. It's just like someone who wins the lottery for $1 billion and they're broke a few years later. It's because they do not know how to manage their personal spending. So before you get to that point in your wealth journey where you now have an influx of money, learn how to manage and track what you already have. And therefore, once you do arrive to that place in your wealth journey, it'll be smooth sailing from there. You'll know how to manage your spending, track it, how to protect it, and how to continue to build your wealth.
I love that, Amelia. One of the things you talked about tonight that I thought was so good, right, was the fact that oftentimes, a lot of times, our paychecks aren't as big as we think the paychecks are, right? We say, hey, you know what, I make 50 a year, I make 100 a year, I make 150, no matter what it is. But we just take that and we be like, all right, I make 100K divided by 12 months. That's how much I bring home. But it's not, right? You talked about the fact that, hey, there's all these other things at play. So really getting into the minutia of what you really do bring home and how to operate with that. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We in the episode we spoke a little bit about controlling your money, right? So, controlling your money absolutely plays and ties hand in hand to how you're spending your money. Um, Most people do not realize, but taxes is more than likely your largest expense. Whether it is federal taxes, state taxes, and some people have city and county taxes. that are also being withheld out of their paycheck every 2 weeks or once a month. That is going to be your largest expense. So automatically out the door, maybe a third of your check is gone, right? So how do you manage with the rest of it? Um, Now that you've taken care of your number one largest expense, you got to now handle your second largest expense, which is now your mortgage or your rent, more than likely, or for some people that may be their car note and their car insurance. So keeping control over your finances and making sure that you understand the inflows and outflows, what's a liability, what's an asset, how do you redeploy that money so you can continue to build your wealth is really, really important. So I know we didn't get really detailed into control in this episode, and I know we'll do it in the future. But listen, it all starts now with how you're tracking and spending your money.
I love it. And Amelia, as you hit on that, right? I see people all in the chats. We streaming out to, I think, 5 or 6 different platforms right now. So I see y'all coming in. What's up, Tanika? I see you. I see Renee, our honorable host. Tonight, I'm y'all bootleg host, if you didn't know. Our honorable host, Renee, couldn't join us tonight, but she'll be back next week. So y'all stuck with me as I have the amazing Amelia Thomas. If you're just joining us, we are recapping episode 2 of Secrets of the 1%. It is available now on our network, The Convo. We're dropping a link in some of the chats of the different platforms that we're on now. And Miss Amelia Thomas, our host, right, also the founder of Empire Capital Ventures, is here talking about the episode and also answering you guys' questions. So if you got questions, make sure you drop down to the chat. Here's your chance to ask Amelia about them. We want to make sure y'all get everything answered that you need to. So Amelia, one of the things I want to talk about is you yourself. You told a personal story of how, digging through your own numbers, you found like something kind of surprising on yourself and where your money was going. Could you dig into that just a little bit?
Yeah, so this was many years ago. But I was just really wondering, like, where was all of my money going? I just could not figure it out. By the time I put money away for retirement, by the time I put money away in savings, I paid my bills. I just didn't have any money left. And I was just like, wow, like, I don't really understand this. So the advice that I gave you today is actually where I started. Like I actually sat down, I pulled 6 months of bank statements, and I went back through every one of those statements, line item by line item, to figure out where exactly my discretionary money had went. And what I discovered was that I had been spending over $400 per month in junk food. So for people who know me, they know I love a Coke Icy, and that same particular gas station, I was going there sometimes 2, 3 times a day if I had a really stressful day. And I'm spending $2 or $3, each time I go there. Not to mention if I eat out, not to mention other little stuff that I pick up across the month. So before I knew it, yes, I was spending over $400 a month on junk. Not even things that, contribute to my health. These are things that contribute to the demise of my health. And I mean, luckily I had youth and age on my side at that time, but Lord knows I can't do that now. But yes, I had to sit down and figure out where that money was going. And so for most people, it is very difficult to break a bad habit, such as eating out, always feeling the need to go into a store and purchase something when they don't need anything. So for me, what I did was I literally got rid of my debit card. I cut it in half. I went and got an ATM only card from the bank. And an ATM only card means you can only use it at the ATM. You cannot use it anywhere else. I don't even know if the banks still offer those. But I
Wow.
got the ATM only card just to make sure that, because at the time I was still traveling quite a bit too, just to make sure that if I was ever out and about and I really needed cash, I could get to it. But outside of that, I did not have a debit card. I went into the bank once a week. I took out, $25, $30. And when that money was gone, that money was gone. And I had to wait until the next week, that next following Monday, when I got more cash out the bank to do any type of spending. And that is how I got control over my discretionary spending. And it's very easy, again, to go back to your bad habits, right? So I don't do it as frequently anymore, but at least once a quarter, I will look at those bank statements again. I will analyze them. There's a lot more tools and resources now to help you analyze your data a lot quicker. I'm really fancy with the spreadsheets now. I create all kind of pivot tables and stuff. So, I can very quickly identify where my money is going and make those necessary adjustments.
I love it. Amelia, what I'm seeing is that we're going to have to rename episode 2 the gasp episode. Had everybody gasping. Renee gasped when you cut up your debit card. Tanika
Yes.
gasped at your snack spending. Like everyone is gasping all over the place because of y'all. If you have not seen episode 2, you must go watch it now. I guarantee you have at least one gasp in this content when you watch it tonight. Hey, we got a few questions that came through, and we can take a few of them. What's up? Our good friend Angela Page Hawkins said, she said, Lamar, ask for Amelia's friend. And no, she said asking for a friend. Sorry, Angela, I got that messed up. She said, what is the best way to reset if you want to do better? What's the best way to reset if you want to do better?
Just start today.
That's
You
good.
know, I think one thing we get in trouble with is, oh, I'll start next week. Oh, I'll start at the beginning of the month. Oh, it's so close to the end of the year. I'll just start January 1st.
January 1st.
You just
Amelia,
have,
January 1st is around the corner.
no,
They can't wait. New year, new
no,
me.
no. You have to start now. You start now, you start building that muscle, you start building that stamina, and hopefully by January the 1st, you're rocking and rolling, like you're moving like a well-oiled machine. You know, it's just like you're getting ready to start losing weight. You just have to get started. You just have to jump in there and do it because otherwise you will always find an excuse to not do it. So just start right now, no matter what. Make the commitment to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Make the commitment and just do it. Like that's where you have to start. You just have to say, hey, enough is enough. I've got to make some changes. Every time you think about going and spending money where you shouldn't be spending money, remind yourself, like, hey, you know, am I going to lie to myself today? I told myself I was going to stop doing that. Like, stop lying to yourself and, you know, hold yourself accountable. Sometimes that might be more difficult than others. And for individuals who I would say have issues where they feel like it's like a compulsion, like gambling, things like that, then you may have to seek some additional professional assistance and help, but that is out there. But everyone else, if you don't think you have such a compulsion, then no matter what, just stop what you're doing, make the commitment to be truthful to yourself and start today.
So good, so good. And like in the chat, Tanika mentioned in the chat, y'all. In this episode, Amelia outlined like step by step what you can do, right? If you're trying to figure out like, hey, where do I just get started? Watch episode 2, Secrets of the 1%, available on the Convo, streaming live right now. It dropped tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And every Monday following the 8, we got a new episode. She said, number 1, record your expenses. Number 2, write budget for savings. She talked about and gave you strategy for that. Number 3, find ways to cut your spending. Number 4, right? Step 4, set a savings goal. Step 5, decide on your priorities. And those priorities, woo! Tonight, y'all, was a good. Anybody watch episode 2 yet in the chat? Let me know. I'm excited about it. All right, I got another question. Alex said, how can we legally lower what we pay in taxes? And I'm going to give you 2, Amelia, because I don't know if they're the same. They may be same or different. So Alex said, hey, you know, how can we legally lower what we pay in taxes? And I had another question from Nicole, who was talking about, again, like what's the best way for small business owners to handle taxes when it's already hard to put aside quarterly taxes? So like how are we, whether we're W-2 or, you know, self-employed, how are we dealing with taxes when it comes to this conversation?
Yeah. I hate to say this because I know you hear it all the time, but you know, it really does depend, right? Like I'm using some Lamar-isms, right? It depends. But to go a little bit more in depth in those questions, for example, with Alex, your question, if you are a W-2 employee, unfortunately, the federal government does not produce a lot of tax benefits for individuals who are W-2 individuals. There are some additional tax benefits for higher paying W-2 people. So individuals who are making over $200,000 or $300,000 a year, there may be some additional opportunities for them under those accredited investor opportunities that we spoke about during last week's episode that may help higher paying W-2 individuals. But if you're not a higher paid W-2 individual, you literally have to utilize what's already at your fingertips. So that is retirement accounts, that is HSA or FSA contributions, depending on what state you live in and how expensive your taxes are, you may decide to move to a state that has no sales tax, right? Or no income tax, right? Like that is actually a strategy. Like people do move to different states just to get away, from some of the taxes that they're paying. And I would like to tell another story about that if we have time, Lamar, towards the end of the episode. But
Sure.
uh, 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 if you have dependents, making sure that you're properly claiming your dependents and you're properly taking advantage of that earned income tax credits that are available. If you have a small business on the side, many people have small businesses on the side these days because guess what? The gatekeepers are gone. So you have the opportunity to make additional money that we didn't really have, 20 years ago. So making sure that you're claiming all of your expenses, making sure that you're claiming your home office expense properly, making sure that you're claiming any of your mileage that you're writing off. Many people are able to subsidize their taxes just by what they're doing in their small business. And honestly, and this might be going a little too deep, but that's exactly what the Ubers and the Instacarts and Ships and those type of gig economy organizations, they are relying on the federal government to subsidize their employees' taxes, which is the reason why most of these people are 1099 workers. So, you know, having or being a small business owner, even if you're just doing consulting, absolutely can give you a way to deduct some expenses that you normally would not be able to deduct. So that's for those people who are W-2s, and hopefully you do have some type of side gig employment. Now, for those who are just straight up small business owners who are having problems with their estimated taxes, I would definitely tell you, number one, make sure that you have really good books and records, making sure that you are, keeping track of your actual expenses. Number two, you may want to actually think about following the profit first method. That profit first method really does a great job of giving people a budget that is that they're a small business owner. It gives you a budget and it says, hey, when you bring in income, you break this income off into these various different budgets. And that way you can make sure no matter what, you always have money in your tax account to pay those taxes. But I will say, if you find yourself at the end of the month and you have more month left than you have money, and you are not paying quarterly taxes, there may be something else going on, because if you don't really have very much profit at the end of the month, why do you have a quarterly tax bill unless you're taking out a lot of money in distributions? And then that's a different story. So there may be, just a little bit more conversation that needs to be had around that. But, as a small business owner, I don't know how many of you follow the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant. You know,
Mm-hmm.
more than 60% of the tax code is designed for people who are small business owners, who are professional investors, and who are entrepreneurs. So as you make your way through that quadrant, you have more and more tax benefits available to you. So it's really all about just making sure that you sit down, have a forward thinking tax advisory team who can help you figure out how to reduce those taxes.
Yep. Hey, Amelia, while we're at it, how can people, if they want to learn more about you, if they want to learn more about Empire Capital Ventures, like how can they find more about your firm?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, empirecapitalventures.com. That's the easiest way to learn more about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And yeah, our mission, really by 2033 is to serve about 3,300 people, helping them utilize the secrets of the 1% to continue on their wealth journey.
I love it. Hey guys, you got last questions? Go ahead and get them in now. If you're just joining us, my name is Lamar Tyler. I'm the founder of the Convo Network, right? Available on your TV, on Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV device, on your phones, right? If you got an iPhone or Android, we're in your app store, or you can just visit us on the web at www.theconvo.tv. Joined here by Amelia Thomas. She's the host of Secrets of the 1%, sharing information that she learned from working at boutique investment firms, right, early in her career, where you had to have a minimum $5 million net worth to become a client. But she said, hey, I want to bring this information back to our community. That's exactly what she's partnered with us to do. taking time out from the busy work she does now, leading her firm, Empire Capital Ventures, and sharing this information with our community. If y'all appreciate what Ms. Thomas is doing to share this information and bring it back, let me know down in the chat. And also make sure you share the word, because I got a big announcement I want to do. I'm see if we got any more questions, but I got a big announcement I want to do. And then I also have a challenge for y'all. Amelia, these people that are watching are going to be with family this week, right? Because this week is a holiday. This week is Thanksgiving. You're going to be around. They're going to be breaking bread. They're going to be sitting at the tables. And my wife, Ronnie, if y'all don't know, my business partner is my wife, Ronnie. We, back in 2009, probably about 2017, right, created 7 full-length documentary films. And one of the things that we learned is when we created these films, because they were uplifting, they were inspiring, they were about issues and topics that made the Black community better. The best thing we could do is get them in the hands of you, the viewers. And we said, if we get them in the hands of the viewers, then you can share them with your community, with your churches, with your institutions, with your sorority sisters, your fraternity brothers, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. Sometimes people that we could never get into a theater, guess what they won't be? They may not be in the theater, but they'll be in your house. And the same thing is going to happen this Thursday. We need everyone that is watching this, right, to not only make sure you're subscribed to the Convo, but we want you to host a viewing party this Thursday, Thanksgiving, right? If you can't do it Thursday, when they come over Friday, do it. When they come over the weekend, do it, right? Like sometime between Thursday and Sunday night, we want you to host a viewing party where you get your family together, you sit them down, and you show them episodes 1 and 2 of Secrets of the 1%. We want to get this information that Miss Amelia Thomas has shared with our community so graciously into the hands of not just you, but your family. Because, you know, if your family gets it, your entire community will then start to spread out and get it like wildfire. And this is the information that we need to be sharing. This is what we got to make go viral, because this is the information that's going to change not just our lives, but the lives of our children and generations after us. So I want to make sure y'all watch parties this weekend. Watch parties this. I'm going to say it one more time for Amelia, make sure they got it. Trying to ingrain them. I'm saying it in 3, so I ingrain them. Watch party this weekend. Episodes 1 and 2 of Secrets of the 1%, and episode 3 drops on Monday. Amelia, wouldn't that make the perfect like Thanksgiving weekend for them to sit down with family and watch these episodes?
Absolutely. You know, we talk about how, you know, we don't know what we don't know. Well, give them the gift. Give them an early Christmas gift of blessing them with this information, especially the information starting from episode 1. You know, if people knew more about that, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation that we're having right now. So start there, episodes 1 and 2, like Lamar said. Give the gift that keeps on giving, and I promise you that is a gift that will absolutely keep giving.
That is it, y'all. Hey, I got one more announcement. Angela said she missed my big announcements. Angela, I got big announcements on all platforms at all times. Don't worry, I got you. Because I got another big announcement, right? Many people may not know, but what we've done is we are rolling back out something super special that we created with Ms. Thomas called the Weekly Wealth Report. Because one of the biggest things that we've been hearing from people is that, hey, you know what, these are great, but I want more. If you're trying to figure out how to get more information, want to dive deeper, we've created a 52-week digital newsletter where you can dive deeper into exactly what we're talking about, right? Just kind of scraping the surface, but going deeper. I'm dropping that into the chat as well to make sure you guys got what you need. And I want to do one more question. You got time for one more question?
Sure.
All right. Awesome. Okay. I got, this is another, they trying to throw some hardballs at you, Amelia. They trying to come in, right? Viola said, how can one strategically use the tax code to reinvest in the community while optimizing the business's financial health?
That is a hardball question, huh? So how I would like to respond to that is it ultimately depends on what your longer term goal or vision is. And the reason why I say that is because if your longer goal or vision is that you want to build a certain amount of wealth and leave it behind, then how you should approach how to utilize the tax code to benefit the community is going to be completely different than the individual who really doesn't care about leaving behind so much of a legacy for their family. They just want to leave behind a legacy for their community. And therefore, the way that they would leverage and utilize the tax code is going to be completely different. So the first thing that I would say is definitely going to depend on your mission. The second thing that I would like to say is that um, when you hear things such as producers and consumers, just know that the federal government is always going to create policy and they're always going to create tax incentives for people who produce. Okay. So for people who produce, that's what they're going to do because they do not want to be in the business of providing those services. That's the reason why they have created all of these housing credits, new market tax credits. They don't want to be in the business of doing that. That is the reason why they created more tax credits around research and development. They don't want to be in the business of doing that. It's the reason why they created credits around alternative energy. They don't want to be in the business of doing that. So whenever it is in the best interest of the federal government to influence a policy or influence legislation, it always comes down to dollars. And so what we have to do is make sure that we're staying on top of what those decisions are and figuring out how best we can leverage those things in our communities to turn the tables and to turn the tides. And once we're able to do that, and we can start pooling more money and resources together because we realize that these initiatives are not inexpensive and you've got other ethnic minority groups clamoring at the bits just to come in our neighborhood and continue to rape us of precious resources and minerals. Hey, it's time for us to do the same thing, but we know that we're benefiting the greater good of the community. But that literally all starts with understanding the mission of why you're trying to do what you're doing so we can understand what portions of the tax code make the most sense for you. The tax code itself is over 7,000 pages, and only 500 of those pages are for W-2 employees. The rest of those pages are for small business owners, investors, and entrepreneurs. So it is plentiful. They are telling us what to do. We just have to utilize it.
I love it, y'all. Hopefully, y'all picking up these nuggets that Amelia's putting down. If y'all let me know down in the chat. Again, right, we want to make sure if you have not already, go out now, right? We make these episodes specifically, intentionally, as short form content. Episode will take you less than 20 minutes to watch it. As soon as we drop, I want you to go out now, drop the links down in the chat, or you can pull up on your TV, Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV device, or you can go on your phone, right? In the App Store, the Convo is available, Apple or Android store, or you can go online. No excuse, y'all. The information is available. Amelia's here answering questions to make sure you got understanding every week at 8:30 once we air the episode at 8 o'clock Eastern and making sure you're good to go. Amelia, any last words for the people as we wrap?
Lamar, do we have 2 minutes?
Uh-oh, I feel like you're about to drop something special. And I feel like I might get beat up if I don't give you 2 minutes. All right, we got 2 minutes. What you got for the people?
I want to circle back to that tidbit that I wanted to speak about earlier when I was talking about taxes being your largest expense. But I want to put this on your hearts and minds because I want more of us to be in this situation. But there are some people in the country who have so much wealth that when they want to leave a state, they have to notify the state government, their revenue officer, their comptroller, the secretary of the state. They have to notify their government officials that, hey, I am going to move from this state to a different state because their businesses and the activities that they generate so much tax dollars that it will literally leave a gaping hole in the state budget if they were to pick up and move.
Hold on,
We
Amelia.
need more of us to be in that situation.
Can I stop you right there? I got questions. Hold on. I don't know about the people watching right now. I got questions. You saying it's people that got so much money that if they say, hey, you know what? Georgia's no longer serving me. I want to move somewhere else. They got to put a call in. It's like things had to go. And I'm assuming if that call comes in, and I'm assuming the state then is probably scrambling, trying to do their best to make sure those folks stay or at least have primary residence. Is that how it happens?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, can you imagine someone? So I used to work in the state legislature. For those who don't know, I do have a little stint in politics, but I worked in the state legislature and I actually worked for the Government and Appropriations Committee. And, if if we had $100 million gaping hole in our budget, that is a lot of services that will be shut
Mm.
down. That is community centers that won't get funding. That is homeless shelters that won't get funding. That may even touch or tap over into the education trust fund, where schools will receive reduced funding. So yes, the government needs as much notice as possible when there's going to be a gaping hole in the state budget that has already been created in the previous legislative session. And yes, there are people in this country who have so much wealth that no, they cannot pick up and leave without notifying those state agencies so they can figure out how they're going to cover that gap.
Wow. Mind blowing. I see the chat is going crazy right now. I see a ooh wee. I see a mind blown. I see the words mind blown. I see the emoji mind blown. When they say I didn't know that, wow. Can I say I want them kind of problems? What's up? Shout out to DJ Sim. DJ Sim say, how much notice does the government need in a situation like that? You didn't open up a can of worms with this one. In a situation like that, how much notice does government mean?
It varies from state to state, but I would imagine they need at least a year.
Hey, I got another follow-up question. Monica said, are you, for clarity, are you saying that they're legally required to make a call for approval, or because of their stand in the community, as a courtesy, they make that call?
I would say as a courtesy, but I can assure you that there's probably not too many people in that position who would just up and leave. They would not want that type of enemy. Governors have friends all over the place in all kind of states. They don't want that type of problem congressionally, and they also don't want the public backlash because it's going to come back. So while it may not be legally required, it is certainly in their best interest to give notice that they plan to relocate and make a different state their permanent residence.
I love it. Viola said that's too much government control. I love, like, you got to, this is you open up this can. It's like you got 2 more minutes. 2 minutes for me is going to open up 20 more minutes of questions. Y'all, this is good. All right, I got a few more follow-up questions.
Okay.
Renee says, so did the state have to offer incentives for them to keep them happy, right? So I don't, they probably don't, but I'm sure they probably do all the time, right? And these people probably they know they yield that power as well. So I'm assuming they probably lean on the governor and local politicians to do what they want to do in order to keep them or their companies or whatever it may be in that state.
Yeah, they do it all the time. It's probably one of the reasons why, many people used to think that I was going to run for office when I was younger because I was very involved politically. But I would never run for office just simply because I wouldn't want to be beholden to the ethic laws, and rules and regulations. But he who controls the purse controls everyone else. So if the government really wanted that person to stay, they're going to call a special session and they're going to figure out what incentives they need to create those tax savings to keep that person in that state.
Has this happened before? I mean, are you aware of like this happening?
Yeah, it happens.
Wow. Y'all listen, only on the Secrets of the 1% poll. This wasn't even in the episode, Renee. No, this needed to be the episode for season 2. But this wasn't even in the episode, y'all. Listen, tell everybody to get on these post shows for Secrets of the 1%. You never know what might come up. Is anybody else's mind blown? Am I the only one on here? It's said, now you know why I'm not leaving Georgia. If I would leave, I couldn't even get Gwinnett County to care if I left Central. I'm not in the bracket yet. Listen, is anybody else's mind blown by this information? And again, y'all, this is why we need to know. This is why we need to have this conversation. I say it all the time. We playing checkers, they playing chess. We cannot begin to play the game if we don't even know the rules that they're playing by. And we can't even imagine to think that we're going to be closing wealth gaps and making inroads and all these things like this if we don't even know that these things exist. That's why we're calling on you to pull your family together this Thursday for Thanksgiving. If they're coming over another day, hey, if you say, hey, like I'm doing Thanksgiving in my house, then we're going to my in-laws the next day. Do it 2 times, but I need you to have a watch party. A watch party, episodes 1 and 2 will only take you 30 minutes combined. And I want you to watch those episodes, sit down as a family. It is family friendly, right? Bring your kids into the room, have them get a piece of this thing. And then I want you to have a conversation about what you just watched. If you missed episode 1, Amelia broke down what it means to become an accredited investor. and how there are investments that you may not even be privy to, right? Things that you can't even learn about if you don't have accredited investor status. Tonight, she talked about in episode 2 how to bring the things together, how to get the money that you need so you can begin getting started now, no matter where you are. And we've been learning so much on the actual post show. Tanika said, these are the secrets. Listen, that might be the new tagline for the post show, Amelia. These are the secrets.
The secrets, yes.
I love it. All right. Was that what you wanted to share? I cut you off, so you might have more. Was that
No,
it,
that's it. I listen. We'll be here all night. I don't want to continue. let's put a
Amelia?
pin in it there.
Listen, I did have earlier in the chat, the TSP delegates are allowing more time. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody for joining us, right, for our very second ever post show for the Convo, right? We're here with Amelia Thomas, host of Secrets of the 1%. If you have not watched episode 2, make sure you go and watch it right now. I'm going to drop the link down in the chat. Again, right, on Facebook. We're streaming out on Facebook pages. We're streaming out on YouTube pages. I want to make sure y'all got what you need so you can go watch it now. Do not forget, and then this Thursday, don't forget y'all watch parties. Need you to host a watch party. Take a picture of your family watching, and then hit us up on the Convo. It's just watch the Convo on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, everywhere, so we can share it, spread the word, get more people to host these watch parties this weekend too. Amelia, any last words?
No, Lamar. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure to be with you tonight, and I hope everyone takes something away from these 2 episodes. And next week, we're going to hit it again.
All right, y'all. Next week, we're back, right? Again, new episode. Episode 3 airs at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, only on the Convo. And don't forget, we're here for the post show, 8:30 p.m. We'll be joined back. Y'all have some type of system and decorum next week because I won't be here. Renee Seiler, the real host, will be here. It'll be much more professional, much more better and even. But y'all, like, I want to say thank you, Renee, for allowing me to come in and guest host for you. And for the amazing work that you did with this show. Renee was behind the scenes producing the show, making the thing happen, and for doing the hosting duties every week. Amelia, thank you again for coming on, hosting this show, right, being a part and sharing this information with our community. And for all of you that are watching, thank you. We cannot have the Convo without you. Share the word. There is a new network in town, right? Everything about Black wealth and about Black entrepreneurship is here on your home, the Convo. Everybody have a great night. Thank you, Amelia. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Peace.